Tanya Weber, a bright and compassionate 17-year-old, was the pride of her family and a role model to her younger siblings. She had her whole life ahead of her, filled with dreams and ambitions. But on June 26, 1965, all of that was cruelly taken away, as she was found strangled and hidden just blocks from her home. With twists, setbacks, and an unexpected breakthrough nearly 60 years later, this case is a chilling reminder of how justice, though delayed, can still be served. Tanya Weber was born and raised in the quiet, picturesque town of Logan, Utah. Growing up, Tanya played a crucial role in her family as the eldest of 5 children. Her siblings, especially her younger sister, Rhonda Weber Christensen, looked up to her as a role model and confidant. Tanya attended Logan High School, where she was a senior in 1965. As graduation approached, Tanya looked forward to the next chapter of her life, filled with optimism and excitement about what the future held. On the morning of June 26, 1965, the lifeless body of 17-year-old Tanya Weber was found on Logan's West Center Street, hidden in the bushes of a nearby home. The discovery was made just 2 blocks from her family's house. Tanya had been strangled, and her body was found partially naked. The Logan Police Department, aided by state authorities, embarked on a massive effort to uncover any leads. Over the course of the investigation, officers interviewed approximately 1,000 people, casting a wide net in hopes of finding someone who might have seen or heard something that could break the case wide open. Out of the extensive list of interviewees, police managed to gather statements from 150 individuals who had potential information related to the crime. These statements were meticulously analyzed for any clues that could point to the perpetrator. As investigators combed through the evidence, they also focused on the physical evidence collected from the crime scene. Among the items collected were Tanya's clothes, which were carefully examined for any forensic evidence that might lead to a suspect. The investigation took a significant turn several days after Tanya's body was discovered. Based on the evidence and witness statements, the Logan police were able to identify a suspect, 26-year-old Owen Hodges Kimball. While some believed the police had found their man, others were skeptical, unsure of whether the evidence against him would be enough to secure a conviction. The investigation into Tanya's case now intensified. Witness statements collected during the investigation suggested that Kimball had been seen near the scene around the time of Tanya's demise. This crucial detail seemed to place him at the heart of the crime, raising suspicions that he might have been involved in the tragic events of that night. For the investigators, it was a lead worth pursuing, and they focused their efforts on building a case against Kimball. However, the case took a sudden and unexpected turn just days later. On June 30th, 1965, Kimball's family reported him missing, raising alarms among both his loved ones and the authorities. The search for Kimball ended in Logan Canyon, where police discovered his lifeless body inside his car. The scene was grim, and it quickly became apparent that Kimball had taken his own life. With the prime suspect now deceased, the police faced a significant setback. Despite the statements placing Kimball near the scene, there was no concrete evidence directly linking him to Tanya's case. The lack of definitive proof meant that no additional suspects emerged, and the investigation began to stall. For 59 long years, the case remained cold. In 2022, after nearly 6 decades of uncertainty, the cold case was reopened. The Logan Police Department, determined to bring closure to the long unsolved case, sought the assistance of the Assault Kit Initiative grant. With this funding, they sent Tanya's clothing to the Utah State Crime Lab for advanced DNA analysis. The examination yielded a significant breakthrough, the discovery of DNA from several men on her clothing. The revelation of multiple DNA profiles led investigators to consider all possible sources, including the long-deceased suspect, Owen Hodges Kimball. Although Kimball had passed away by taking his own life in 1965, his remains still held the potential to provide crucial evidence. Investigators made the decision to pursue a DNA sample from Kimball's body, believing that his DNA could be the key to solving the case. To proceed, they needed legal authorization, so they filed an ex parte order, a court request granted with only one side's approval, allowing investigators to act swiftly without delay. The court approved the order, and on November 2nd, 2023, nearly 60 years after his demise, Kimball's body was exhumed. His remains were sent to the Utah Medical Examiner's office, where DNA samples were collected for analysis. The samples were then processed by both the Utah State Crime Lab and the Bode Technology Group. In June 2024, the results were conclusive. Kimball's DNA matched the DNA found on Tanya's clothing, providing the crucial link investigators had long sought. With this groundbreaking evidence in hand, investigators revisited the numerous statements and physical evidence collected during the original 1965 investigation. The newly obtained DNA evidence, when combined with the historical findings, painted a clear and indisputable picture of what had transpired that fateful night. It became evident that Kimball was indeed responsible for the brutal slaying of Tanya Weber. The evidence against him was overwhelming, and had he been alive, it would have been more than sufficient to obtain a guilty verdict beyond a reasonable doubt. The conclusion of the investigation brought long-awaited closure to Tanya's family and the community of Logan. The truth had finally emerged after 59 years, bringing an end to a case that had haunted the town for generations. Rhonda Christensen, Tanya's sister, and her family were attending a reunion in Idaho when police located them and told them what took place. Rhonda explained, "The policemen came in and asked for my parents. They took them outside and told them what happened. There was a lot of support from our extended family. Words cannot express the gratitude from myself, my sister Julie, and my brothers Stephen and David. We are just so grateful to believe that she can finally rest in peace." When Stephen Weber, Tanya's brother, talks about June 26, 1965, he still gets emotional. He was 10 years old, but remembers the day like it was yesterday. He said, "It was just really terrible. I just did not know quite how to handle it." He gave a big sigh of relief when asked how important it was to have his sister's perpetrator officially named. Stephen added that he has forgiven him, and he hopes this can bring closure to others close to the case too. A person turned an ordinary diner into a sanctuary of warmth and friendship. But then the bonds forged in such a place were suddenly ripped apart. A beloved community figure is tragically taken away. For nearly 24 years, this tragic demise remained a mystery. Stephen Davis was a 46-year-old man who stayed in Pensacola, Florida. He was a cab driver for Yellow Cab Taxi. His regular presence at the local Waffle House was as reliable as the sunrise, and his easygoing demeanor made him a natural at forming connections with patrons and staff alike. The Waffle House had become more than just a diner for Stephen. It was a home away from home, where he forged bonds that extended beyond the clinking of silverware and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. On August 26, 1998, an ominous cloud settled over the once inviting Waffle House as news spread of the tragic events that had befallen Stephen Davis. In the quiet pre-dawn hours, Stephen found himself embroiled in a terrifying encounter that would forever alter the course of his life. As he approached his cab, parked in the shadows of the early morning, he was unaware of the menace lurking within the vehicle. A man, concealed in the darkness, lay in wait for Stephen, setting the stage for a horrific ambush. Panic ensued as Stephen, sensing imminent danger, desperately attempted to flee from the assailant. As he bolted from the car, the attacker opened fire, and a hail of bullets pierced the stillness of the Pensacola night. Despite his frantic efforts to escape, Stephen was struck multiple times, once in the jaw and twice in his right posterior thorax, and his life hung in the balance. With every ounce of strength he could muster, Stephen staggered towards the nearby Winn-Dixie, hoping to find help and refuge from his assailant. Tragically, he collapsed in the parking lot, his life ebbing away as the gravity of his injuries took their toll. The glow of the streetlights illuminated the gruesome scene as Stephen succumbed to his wounds. In the aftermath of the horrific attack, Stephen's car was discovered near Navy Boulevard, its driver's door and rear passenger doors left ominously ajar. The shattered driver's side window bore testament to the violence that had unfolded, offering a chilling glimpse into the chaos that had transpired. An immediate investigation was launched, with law enforcement officials working tirelessly to uncover any leads that could shed light on the identity of the perpetrator. Yet, as the case progressed, it became increasingly clear that the lack of witnesses and physical evidence presented a formidable challenge. Despite countless efforts and the occasional tip, the passage of time seemed only to deepen the enigma of Stephen's case. The unwavering determination of investigators to bring justice to Stephen Davis and his loved ones culminated in a significant breakthrough nearly a quarter of a century after his tragic demise. In 2022, the investigation into Stephen's case was reopened, and through the utilization of advanced forensic technology, a bloody fingerprint from the scene was meticulously examined. This led investigators to identify Donald Holmes as the prime suspect. At the time of this discovery, Holmes was already serving a 20-year sentence in a Florida state prison for a home invasion robbery that occurred in Escambia County in 2012. Initially set for release in 2032, Holmes now faces new charges for the slaying of Stephen Davis. This will ensure that he will be held accountable for the heinous crime. The announcement made by the Escambia County Sheriff's Office on March 5, 2024, brought a long-awaited sense of closure to Stephen's family and friends. The relentless pursuit of justice, coupled with the remarkable advancements in forensic science, enabled detectives to finally connect the fingerprint to Holmes, ultimately solving the mystery that had haunted the community for over 24 years. Stephen's sisters, Ruby Kastner and Julie MacArthur, said that he was known for being very friendly and helpful to anyone. Ruby said, "He was a big bear. He was there for everybody. He got a lot of people off illegal substances." As the legal proceedings against Donald Holmes ensue, the memory of Stephen Davis lives on. Peter Michael DiSabatino, born on October 22, 1992, in Newark, Delaware, overcame near-demise experiences as a child to become a vibrant, outgoing young man, known for his leadership on the lacrosse field and his deep love for family. Peter's life seemed destined for greatness, but on November 12, 2012, his bright future was stolen in a moment of unimaginable betrayal. For over a decade, his case remained a haunting mystery. Peter Michael DiSabatino was born on October 22, 1992, to Angela Herman and Thomas DiSabatino. He survived two near-demise experiences in his early years. First at birth and again at the age of 2, when he nearly drowned. At Appoquinimink High School, Peter's leadership and charisma shone through. As a co-captain of the lacrosse team for 2 years, he earned a reputation not only for his athletic skills, but also for his unwavering team spirit. Yet, there was more to Peter than just his athletic prowess. He was known for his mischievous nature, a rascal with a bit of spice to his personality. Whether it was a holiday celebration or a casual weekend barbecue, Peter thrived in the company of loved ones. However, on November 12, 2012, Peter's life took a dark and unexpected turn. That evening, Peter was at his apartment enjoying the company of friends. The night seemed like any other, filled with laughter and the comfort of close companionship. But as the evening unfolded, Peter received a text message that would change everything. The message was from someone he knew, asking him to come outside and meet them. Trusting this person, Peter stepped out, unaware that he was walking into a trap. What he thought was a friendly encounter was, in fact, a setup that would lead to his tragic demise. As Peter approached the meeting spot, the situation quickly escalated into violence. The peace of the night was shattered by the sound of gunshots echoing through the air. His friends, still inside the apartment, were jolted by the sudden, terrifying noise. They rushed outside, only to find Peter lying on the ground, gravely wounded. Desperate to save his life, they attempted to resuscitate him, performing CPR and mouth-to-mouth, while others frantically dialed 911. The scene was chaotic, filled with fear and the gut-wrenching realization that their friend's life was slipping away. Emergency services responded quickly, with police being dispatched to the Studio Green apartments on the 200 block of Thorn Lane in Newark. When officers arrived just before 9:30 p.m., they found Peter lying on the sidewalk, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. The situation was dire, and despite the best efforts of the responding officers and paramedics, Peter's condition was critical. He was rushed to a nearby hospital, but the injuries he sustained were too severe. Tragically, Peter DiSabatino lost his life shortly after arriving at the hospital. For years, Peter's case remained an unsolved mystery. The Newcastle County Police's Cold Case Unit took on the burden of keeping his case alive. The unit highlighted cases like Peter's to remind the public of the enduring pain suffered by the families left behind, who must carry on without answers or justice. Despite the passing years, the Cold Case Slaying Squad never gave up hope, tirelessly re-examining evidence and re-interviewing witnesses in pursuit of the truth. There was an interview with the family in 2020, and they had the following to say. His father, Thomas D. Sabatino, said, "He was a good kid. I was proud of him, still am, and I miss him very much." He expressed frustration at the case's current status and said more evidence is needed to help bring his son's perpetrators to justice. It has been almost 5 years, and we know who they are, but there just is not enough evidence to give them what they deserve. His sister, Caroline, said, "He just was happy to be alive. How could my baby brother be gone?" His mother, Angela Herman, described the waking nightmare of having to both learn of her son's demise and then tell his sisters Peter was gone. She said, "I just kept thinking, when I get there, somebody's going to take me in and show me that he is okay. They did not. When I got there, they took me back to another room. After they told me, after the girls came in, we had to tell them. Officials let us see him, but because it was a criminal case, I could not even touch him. I could not hold him one more time. I could not even hold his hand." The persistence of the investigators finally paid off in January 2024. The investigation reached a critical turning point. The Cold Case Slaying Squad, in collaboration with the Delaware Department of Justice, made a breakthrough that would change everything. After carefully piecing together the evidence and revisiting key testimonies, detectives identified 33-year-old Alondo Dale as a suspect in Peter's case. This discovery reignited the case, providing the long-awaited lead that could finally bring closure to Peter's family. On January 16, 2024, the case was presented to a grand jury, backed by the unwavering support of the Delaware Department of Justice. The evidence was compelling enough to secure an indictment against Dale, charging him with slaying in the first degree. This indictment marked a significant milestone in the investigation, signaling that justice was within reach after more than a decade of uncertainty and heartache. The pursuit of justice culminated on January 29, 2024, when Dale was apprehended by the United States Marshals Task Force with assistance from the NCCPD Special Investigations Squad. He was subsequently arraigned in Newcastle County Superior Court, facing the grave charges of first-degree slaying and first-degree slaying caused during the commission of a felony. Bail was set at $1 million, and he was transported to Howard R. Young Correctional Institution. For Peter's loved ones, Dale's arrest brought a sense of relief and the hope that justice, though delayed, would finally be served.